Let me begin with a paradox.
I can't stop thinking about.
We are the most informed generation in the history of our species. We carry in our pockets more knowledge
Than every library of the ancient world combined.
We can learn anything, watch anything, follow anyone at any hour of the night. And yet, had you noticed? We had never felt emptier, never more anxious, never more disconnected from ourselves. That's the paradox of our time. Infinite information and a spiritual void sitting right in the center of it. And today, I want to talk about why those two things are not coincidence. The void isn't happening despite all the information. In many ways,
It is happening because of it.
so stay with me because in the next few minutes, I want to walk you through something. How information itself has quietly become our newest way of running from pain. How the constant noise is drowning out your own inner voice. What the sky is revealing about all of this right now, with Uranus moving into Gemini, and most importantly, how to find your way back to the silence, to your body, to the one frequency that was always yours. This isn't an episode that will give you more to consume. It is one that gives you permission to consume less so you can finally hear yourself again. Welcome to today's episode. In my work, I talk a lot about spiritual bypassing, the way we use spirituality to avoid what hurts. But underneath that, there's an older, more basic instinct. The ego is programmed to run from pain and chase pleasure. That's pure survival for most of human history that looked like substances, disruption, anything to not feel. Today, it wears a newer, more elegant face. We don't reach for the bottle, we reach for the fit. Think about what actually happens the moment you feel something uncomfortable. A weight of sadness, a flash of loneliness, a question about your life you don't want to answer. What's the first thing your hand does? It reaches for the phone, not consciously. It moves faster than thought. And within 3 seconds, you are scrolling, watching, consuming, learning. The discomfort is gone, numbed, buried under 100 new pieces of information. We have turned information into a painkiller. And here is what I need you to really hear. Pain is the soul's call to make the unconscious conscious. It cannot be avoided, only postponed. The vibration that pain came to move, it stays exactly what it is, stuck. So every time we numb a feeling with content, we are not healing, we are sedating. The wound doesn't close, it just gets quieter while we get louder. And there's a particularly modern trap inside this. The information age has convinced us that consuming knowledge about ourselves is the same as transforming ourselves. We devour content about healing. We learn our attachment style, our trauma responses, our shadow, our human design, our placements. We collect maps, beautiful, detailed maps, and we never walk the territory. We can recite the theory of our own wonders with perfect fluency and still not have felt a single one of them in the body. Information about your pain is not the integration of your pain. One is a map, the other is the road, and the road can only be walked in silence, in the body alone. Which brings me to the second thing happening, and it is even more subtle. It is not only that we use information to escape pain. It is that the constant entertainment has made it almost impossible to hear ourselves at all. Here is something I return to again and again. The higher frequencies, the ones closest to the soul, closest to the source, they live in stillness, in the space between movements. Meditation and contemplation are bridges to those frequencies precisely because they create silence. The soul doesn't shout, it speaks in the gap between the notes. And what had we done with the gaps? We feel it, every single one. The silence in the elevator, feel it. The walk to the car, feel it with a podcast. The moment before sleep, feel it with a screen. The 3 seconds of bother in a line, feel it. We have systematically engineered silence out of our lives. And then we wonder why we can no longer hear our own guidance. You cannot tune into a station while the radio is screaming static. And right now, most of us are living inside the static and calling it being informed. This is where it becomes important because the information age has done something to our relationship with truth itself. It has convinced us that the answer is always out there. One more expert, one more book, one more course, one more thread, one more voice that will finally explain us to ourselves. We had outsourced our own knowing, but here is something I believe with my whole being. The era of the guru is over. The only guru that exists is the one within you. I'm not telling you to start learning. I write books. I made this podcast. I want you to learn. I am telling you that information is not wisdom. Knowledge only becomes wisdom when it passes through your own body and resonates or doesn't. When you stop asking, what does the expert say? And start asking, what does this do in my chest? If you must follow someone, follow yourself, not the loud, anxious mind that collects data about how to live, but the quiet intelligence underneath it that has always known. The answer was never in the next search. It was in the silence you keep skipping. And here is where the sky is speaking directly to this exact moment. Because none of this is random. We are living through Uranus moving into Gemini. And let me translate that. Uranus is the great awakener, the disruptor, the lightning bolt, the energy of sudden liberation and technological revolution. Gemini is the sign of the mind, of information, of communication, of data, of language, of the messenger. Put them together and you get precisely what we are living through. An explosive acceleration of information, artificial intelligence, infinite data, the collective nervous system electrified, overstimulated, overloaded. Every transit carries a shadow and an invitation. The shadow of Uranus in Gemini is exactly this: so much information that we lose the signal of our own frequency. Mental overstimulation, a mind pulled in every direction. Disconnection from the original note your soul came here to play. Buried under 1,000 knobs that were never yours. But Uranus is also the liberator. It doesn't only bring the overload, it brings the power to wake up from it. Remember the movie The Matrix? Neo doesn't get free by gathering more information about the system the moment he chooses to wake up from it. That's Uranus, the same energy that can flood you with noise, can be the lightning that snaps you up of the trance. The invitation of these trances is not to consume more. It is to discern, to choose signal over volume, to use the awakening current of Uranus to remember that you were never meant to know everything. You were meant to know yourself. So how do we come back? Not by adding, by subtracting. This is the part nobody monetizes because there is nothing to sell you here. The medicine for an age of too much information is less. Reclaim the gaps. Let the elevator be silent. Take the walk without the airbags. Sit in the 3 seconds of boredom and let something rise up from underneath it. Minimize the artificial. Get your bare feet on the ground on your mornings before the world starts shouting into that. Because if you own your morning, you own your whole day. And let your body lead. Because the body always knows before the mind does. It is your antenna on this plane, and it doesn't lie the way the mind does. When you take something in, a teaching, an opinion, even mine, don't ask whether it's clever. Ask whether it resonates with your inner symphony. Discern by frequency, not by consensus. So here is what I want to leave you with today. The spiritual void of our time is not a lack of information. It's an excess of it, drowning out of the one frequency that was always yours. You don't need another teacher. You don't need another download. You don't even need another episode of this podcast completely. And I mean that completely. What you need is to be quiet long enough to hear the music underneath the noise. Your original frequency, your cosmic DNA, the symphony only you were born to play. So turn it off every now and then. Not because connection is bad, but because you are the connection you've been searching for out there. If it is resonating with you, come closer. The door is open. Until next time, don't fake it. Vibrate, connect, and keep playing your own music.